That's the bio clinic. Bio clinic. At the bio clinic. Bio clinic. Well, my fellow Starship travelers, welcome to my show, the Authentic Human Being Show. This is the prop that I planned today. Actually, I brought this along here. This morning I put it there by my computer. Just had my coffee with, and it kind of explains who Charles J. Shield is, see? He's a sharecropper. You know, he's that guy that gives you that military haircut, you know? When those hippies were drafted in Vietnam, you know? They're off with their hair, you know? Like Samson, to weaken them, you know, so they become machines, you know, to go against the communists, you know, the little yellow menace. So, I found out that he unfriended my friend Amy Oles, see? Did I turn this off now? Or is that too distracting for you? See? He's a sharecropper. He invited me to share on his Facebook, and when I shared, he cropped me out, you know, took all my, you know, share out off of his Facebook and banished me, evicted me, disappeared my input, see? And then he got rid of Amy because she sent him a painting, and he commented on that, and he said it reminded me of a German that came to America, and I went with that, see? Let's turn that off for a minute. I've got my hat on, but hey, well, maybe we'll just do the show without it. Did you ever see The Lawnmower Man, by the way? Freaky movie. That movie's like a bad acid trip. I mean, that movie comes really close to depicting what a real acid trip is like, but it's very frightening. It just goes on and on for a long time for me. So, what I found out is that the StarSHIP, along with some other bands, formed a group. And I'm going to go, I just looked at this, I'm going to go get the names and read some of this stuff. And I'll post it on my Roy Rosenmont Press, so you can follow this along. But we finally have a motive for me and Amy being vanquished. You know, taken out, you know. Our words sheared, you know. Shearing the words, the sheep, you know. See? Because that's who this guy is. He's started out as a school teacher. And, I don't know, I think maybe he took one LSD trip and, you know, he said, oh my God, you know, I had a bad time, and so I got to stop other people from taking LSD. And, you know, his father was a military guy, or, you know, so you know, he's a bug. See, basically he's a bug from another planet, you know, like those locusts that they make, those little spy locusts that fly around. He's a locust. I knew that, you know, I told you. Because they are, you know, cutting down the golden grains of wheat that used to contain this mold, see, you know, where LSD comes from, see. He's from another planet, that's his job now. Mo. Keep everybody on the same level, you know, keep, you know, anybody who wants to get high, you know, him and his swarm, you know, come, you know, and now they become writers or biographers, you know, and he felt Kurt Vonnegut out, you know, hey, I want to be your biographer, I want to do your bio, you know. And this is a mind blower. Vonnegut sent him a painting, a big package, you know, with a self-portrait in it of him demurring whether he's going to anoint Charles J. Shields to do his biography. And, okay, where do we go from here? Amy Oles is like my sister. When I saw her artwork, it was like Christina had come back to life. And immediately when we started talking to one another. It was like having my sister back. It was just this wonderful intuitive hit. You know, we're talking about our art. You know, I'm giving her feedback, wonderful feedback. You know, that gets her even higher, and she's making me higher. You know, and there we're having an art and literature experiences as you wouldn't believe. And a lot of her subject matter, you know, is about aliens and her belief that she was contacted by aliens and abducted by them. And it's all through her art work, which is automatic. In another YouTube video I looked at, Vonnegut is saying, I did nothing. My only job was to throw away the trash cans, the stuff that fit. He said, but basically, it was all being dictated to me, you know, by power greater than myself, whatever, you know. He says, I would just go into a trance, like Billy Pilgrim does, and he would go off to this planet. And there he is in this dome, and these higher entities, the voice says, we captured you because of all the planets we've looked at, yours is the only one that understands free will. And this was the whole discussion I had the other day. And why he's pondering free will and why him, he's all alone in this dome. They abduct Montana Montana wild hack. She appears topless, you know, just her underwear on, and, you know, wondering how she got there. I'm going to try to say, you know, less, okay? So help, you know. So they want her to mate with Billy Pilgrim. And they want to observe this. And a month ago, Amy, when we were talking about the vortex, I was doing the Zardoz, the Wizard of Oz, and the vortex, and she posted this picture about this illustration story of this woman that appeared naked floating in this geodesic dome with a boat, you know, a saucer at the bottom. And there's these Chinese, or Japanese, I think Japanese people looking at her inside. You know? We want Vonnegut's notes, Mr. Shields. You can't shield the world from the high and the fact that there is something out there that gets us off this planet. We want those notes. We demand it. We want them published, all of them. Shh. We won't stand for the sharecropping locust. See? You know, they came after the Mormons. See? The Mormons moved in to a place in Utah. Well, there they were. The bugs all over. They grew the wheat. The wheat got higher and higher and higher. And here they come. Shh. Here they come. The locusts, you know. Shh. To cut down the wheat. See? Something happened there. There's a mold that appeared on that wheat, that first crop. And people were eating that wheat and they had visions. Huh? The Book of Mormon. Huh? Is that how it got born? And why are they so interested in genealogies? In recording and collecting all these names, and knowing who everybody is. Hey, why is that? Mr. Shields? I think he's CIA. Are you CIA? Counterculture. The counterculture. So, they're his insects, you know, because they're from another planet too. And they got here first, and they didn't like the introduction of this higher consciousness. They didn't want humankind to own it. They just wanted them to use them to grow wheat. See? products, their food. They introduced wheat. It's all through the Bible. And they wanted us to grow it because, you know, they're just locusts. See, that's basically what they are, is bugs. And so that first crop, they had this mold. This mold appeared upon it, see. That was the beginning. A friend of, you know, this is real. A friend of mine's grandmother, when she was like 10 and 11, her friends would go out to the wheat fields and eat the mold off the wheat directly, and they would get high. They'd have all these visions. And I think this happened with the girls in the witch hunt in Salem. They found some mold. They're eating that mold. There's a whole history of this. So when I mentioned the idea that Lucia Joyce took peyote with Antonin Artaud, who'd been in America during the ghost dance and eating peyote with the Native Americans, and then she goes on a vision quest and ends up on the Fillmore, you know, the floor of the Fillmore, dancing to the Grateful Dead. Man, when you hear what I found today, you know, I'm going to get right to it. You can understand that Shields like flipped. I mean, he said, "My God, this is an attack. This is a how did he know I disappeared all this from Vonnegut's life? How I hid his notes on this, his meeting with the Jefferson airplane, StarSHIP." You're caught, buddy. There's a detective in me that's pretty powerful. And you are busted. So here it is. Let's get right to it. Here it is. Here's the whole thing. Right here. In 1970, Kurt Vonnegut met with the Jefferson StarSHIP in 1971. The Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra is a nickname given to artists who recorded together in the early 1970s. They were predominantly members of the Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead, Quicksilver Messenger Service, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Wow. When they were known as, their first album together was Blows Against the Empire. Blows Against the Empire. Wow. What empire are they talking about, you know? About Star Wars? When they were known as the Jefferson StarSHIP, the name changed to Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra for the next album. David Crosby, If I Could Only Remember My Name. Okay. Let's go down there and take a look at what they were doing and why they wanted Vonnegut to come on board. Yeah. Mr. Shields didn't want to talk about this, did he? This is the main reason why people read Vonnegut. They love his geodesic dome on a planet. They like the idea of this Earth thing being lifted up, taken to another planet and put in a specialized dome. Hippies were really into geodesic domes. In fact, you know, the whole Earth catalog, you see one, right? The whole Earth catalog was basically a survival kit for the counterculture to tune in, turn on, and drop out. This is what invented the whole computer. Was the, you know, the counterculture, which Mr. Shields, Mr. Shears, you know, he gives Vonnegut, you know, a Marine cut, crew cut, you bastard. We want those notes. We're coming to the castle, to the Shields castle with pitchforks. You Frankenstein, Grasshopper. Blows Against the Empire is a concept album by Paul Kattner and Grace Slick, released under the name Paul Kattner and the Jefferson StarSHIP. The first album to use StarSHIP name, although the personal lineup was not the same and would appear in the first actual Jefferson StarSHIP, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Concept. The album is a narrative concept album that tells the story of a counterculture revolution against oppressions of Uncle Samuel. Well, that's my moniker, Uncle Santa Claus. You've seen pictures of that. You know, I even dress like Uncle Santa Claus for my show because you know, I've had my mind altered. See, I'm no, you know. The pressures of Uncle Samuel and a plan to steal a starship from orbit and journey into space and search for a new home. What? What? Boy, Mr. Shield doesn't mention that this is why they might have contacted the guy kind of wrote, you know, a parallel, you know, story in Slaughterhouse-5, you know, Billy Pilgrim, Montana, a wild hack, huh? Of course they wanted to, you know, they were thinking that, God, you know, there's these people getting the same message, you know, all over the planet, you know, and they're bringing it together, you know, with musicians, see. That's key word, musicians, because in it is music, and music comes from the word muse, and people dance to music, and the muse of music, okay? And that's who Lucia in the Sky with Diamonds, Joyce, was. She was a dancer, and she danced to music. She said it under Isadora Duncan, okay? This is why he flipped out. His mind started going, my God, is this a concerted attack? Is this man wise to me? See, I'm doing this into it. See, he challenged me, well, the whole group, to carry on, you know, come up, who's going to write her biography? You know, nobody stepped up because they know who this guy is. You know, he's the man from Bioclinic. He's, you know, he's Nurse Cratchit from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You know, keep everybody down. Keep everybody from rising up off the earth. You know, going to their new home. The original vinyl release divided into two album sides. Mau Mau American, Mau Mau Zulu, launched side one, a counterculture manifesto and call to arms. In the context of the narrative, this is a free music being performed in the park, drawing everyone together. See, I know all about that. Because that's what I've been talking about. You know, stop taking, you know, advantage of us hippies and bohemians and beatniks. You know, stop playing in those big stadiums and come back, come home. Come home to, you know, to San Francisco, you know. You know, there's some flowers in your hair. You know, forget that. That's a terrible song. But come home to what they were when they first appeared on the scene in 1965, where they were just a garage band playing almost for next to nothing at the Fillmore and other places. And then when we accused them of taking profit, then they started holding free concerts in Golden Gate Park. See, here's the song here. Put your old ladies back to bed. Put your old men in their graves. Cover their ears so they can't hear us sing. Cover their eyes so they can't hear us play. Get out of the way. Let the people play. We gotta get down on you. Come alive all over you. Dancing down into your town. Boy, you know, you know, well, when he, he saw this happening. He's probably read this, you know. And Kurt Vonnegut probably, you know, said, "Hey, I'm going to die, and you know, I'm going to tell the truth, you know, about the real discussions and meetings I had with the Jefferson airplane." Because what, you know, because he's like, you know, worried about getting this. See. Okay. Charles has it the other way around. He says, you know, Kurt was really upset that the Jefferson airplane wanted him to come and bring his writing into, you know, his scene, you know, which was his, he turns him into a catcher, you know, Howard Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye, that he's a son of a military guy like, you know, Shields is, you know, and he had this, you know, survivor's guild, Dresden, and, you know, he's trying to find himself, like, you know, Catcher in the Rye, you know, and that's the kind of books Shields got his reputation, you know, because he was a school teacher, you know, there, you know, the Mr. Clean, you know, Mr. Sanitation man, you know, from the bio clinic, you know, and all these kids he's looking at in the class are, you know, tripping out, long hair, and you know, they could care less, you know, about the biography of Abraham Lincoln or anything, you know. So his job is to find interesting bios that are straight, you know. He doesn't want them looking over here at Jefferson StarSHIP, you know, buying their albums, anything. He doesn't want these kids dancing. He doesn't want them to play music, you know. He wants to send them off to Dresden, the next Dresden, you know, where there's just this horror, a nightmare going on, you know, and they all come back with PTSD, you know. Well, you know, PSTD is destroying, you know, America. I mean, 87% of the homeless people 20 years ago were Vietnam veterans. All those guys you saw drinking on the bridges and down by the rivers and railroad tracks, those weren't hippies. Those weren't burned out hippies. Those were burned out soldiers. Now, Vonnegut was a peacenik. He was against the war. The whole Slaughterhouse Five thing was against the war. And Shields, you know, comes along with their Marine crew cut. What an asshole. It celebrates late 60s counterculture, depicting people celebrating mind expansion and free love. We'll ball in your parks, insane with a flash of living, calling for acid, cocaine, and grass. You know, I'm sorry, I can't even subscribe to this. I mean, at this time, you know, I didn't think, you know, that this vision would go very far. But that it existed, and that Vonnegut, you know, is connected with this, and that Vonnegut's censor, his sharecropper from outer space, snips all this, you know, keeps it away from the reader, you know, so he can keep kids, you know, clean and sober. You know, cocaine and grass, you know, there he is. Colorado just legalized grass. People are lining up to get, you know, legal grass. They had enough of the military, domestic and abroad, and make one of the earliest references to Ronald Reagan in popular music. In the line, "You unleash the dogs at grade B movie star governor's war, so drop your fucking bombs, burn your demon babies. I will live again." They condemn the divisive strictures of conservative society and dream of finding a utopia. Divisive strictures of conservative society. That's their symbol right there. The shears. The shears of the locusts and the sharecroppers. The Baby Tree, written by Rosalie Sorrows, is about an imaginary island where babies grow on trees and are collected by happy couples when they fall. The scene develops over remaining album side. And let's get and let's go together, and a child is coming. That couple is among the gathering in a park outside Chicago the night before the hijacking, tripping on acid as dawn approaches. She reveals that she's pregnant, and particularly they resolve to free their child from the government's files and their numbers game. Free the child from their files and number game. See, you listen to me like for 5 hours, just psychically tune in on Shields and what his people, what they're trying to do, and the files and numbers game. Amy's trying to break out also of this, and this is the getting computer, the files and number game. In fact, on Amy's Facebook, I identify Charles J. Shields as Thomas Gideon, who invented the getting computer because his wife was married to Berkeley Bill Beauregard, who was a free soul, who took drugs and LSD, and basically became the last of the hippies, the last of the bohemians. And he designed this machine, this prison system, a privately owned prison system, and I'm the one that predicted it, he designed it around the Artful Dodger. He realized that Bill was the freest soul he had ever met. There was no one with more free will than Bill. And if he designed specifically to capture him, he designed a better mousetrap. Now I hope we're catching me on this. I'm going to go over here and turn on this light because the sun's gone down.